Howdy, folks. Welcome back to Viva La Cats. I'm your host, Justin Hiles, and today we have some very special guests. We have UC Disc Golf Team, accompanied by all four of the A Team national champions for 2025. It's fantastic to have them all on. We did have this team on last year, and we've got probably a little bit of a different tone set for this season with a little bit of a different result, but very excited to have all these guys on. I'm going to go through the list and let them introduce themselves. I mean, we could just do this clockwise. So let's start in upper left quadrant and go around. Everybody introduce yourselves, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'm Lucas Fogelsong.
Yeah, Ilkin Grow here.
Oh,
You're muted,
muted.
Brad.
Oh man.
Brad Caldwell.
There we go.
There we go. And I'm Tanner Young.
All right, great. So last year, I think this is the best place to start. Last year, you guys were in a very interesting situation coming into the end of nationals, looking to try to take home a consecutive national championship. Of course, the guys won in 2023. You go into 2024 looking to capitalize on that, and it came up just short. Walk us through kind of what ended up happening at the end of last year, and then how that took all of your momentum from last year and you're able to bring it into this year with a lot of the same guys, and go and look to win a national championship.
Yeah, so last year we ended up losing in a three-hole sudden death playoff. And we had the exact same group of four guys here at last year as we did this year. And so that just really, it was a long car ride home last year, and it really fueled the fire to get the ball rolling this year and to finish out on top.
Absolutely. And I think it's a really important thing to mention too, because I feel like a lot of people might want to like skip over some of these kind of things, but I think the motivation changes too when you have that sort of event happen, and it can kind of give you guys a new way of looking at things when you get into the finals. Of course, when you get into the end of this year, the team played fantastic. I believe your guys' final score was 33 under.
Yes.
Through all the rounds, and had a pretty strong lead going into the final round, and managed to maintain that. Tell me about how, like, going into that final round, how were you able to maintain that lead, and also, what are some of the things that you guys were thinking about as you were trying to just finish out and finish out on top?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was really cool to just get out to such a big start in that second. I mean, we started off kind of slowly through the singles round, but we were still right in the mix, and we played a really good second round. And I think I speak for the whole team when we all believe that we're the best team in the country, and we don't even think it's close, honestly. So it was really nice to just be able to go out there and really prove that to ourselves, and just be able to play at our best. And even when it wasn't our very best at sometimes, we were still able to clear the field. And just holding a lead also felt very good, because I know back in 2023, they made a big comeback to win the national championship. And then last year as well, we were very far behind before making that push to get into a playoff. So it just kind of felt good to be in the lead and hold it, even though there's so much pressure and so many people chasing. So I thought that was really cool for sure.
Very nice. Yeah, I think one thing to mention too, looking at the past two seasons, I thought it was really interesting that you guys finished out 1-2 with Charlotte in both years. I don't know if we've got kind of like some kind of rivalry going there. Can you kind of walk me through? Because I imagine you guys are playing on the same card. So can you kind of walk me through where maybe some of the pressure is, some of the mental is in playing a team that did get the better of you last year, and now this year you kind of get that one over on them this time?
I think there's definitely a little bit of a rivalry brewing here. Charlotte and Cincinnati are both big hot spots for disc golf.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that paired together with college disc golf, we played with them the third round, and they kind of kept to themselves, and we kind of kept to ourselves, allowed us both to play our games. And then our final round, we played played with UNC on our card and not Charlotte. But battling with all those guys, it kind of there's moments where you can gain strokes, moments where you can lose strokes, and high pressure moments where you've got to perform, and some of them that are, hey, the other team's already out of bounds and there's a little bit less pressure, or Ilkin throws it in bounds and my shot has a lot less pressure now. So,
yeah, for sure. I think, and that you're kind of speaking to a lot of, some of the high pressure moments and trying to make some of those big plays when you can. I'm curious, like, what are maybe some of the big moments that stuck out in your head as you look back after the national championship, the win, everything was great. What is the thing that kind of like sits back in your mind for maybe each one of you? Is like, what's one shot or one situation where you're like, I did that and that helped cement what we, our finish for what we had this season.
I really think our first round at Winthrop was where we really just took control with the 15 down, beating the rest of the field by, I think, 3 strokes. But what really led to that was like watching Tanner putt in that first round. He was draining everything from 50, 60, 70 footers on his knees. He was going crazy. So getting that strong start was really a important moment there.
We could go around the horn and say our favorite moment that we thought sparked it. To say one that I did, the one I think of was that the putt was a putt at Winthrop that Tanner made from his knees from 60 feet, which was ridiculous. But that was really early on. But one of mine was I made like a putt over a hill where I couldn't really see the basket, just kind of floated it in, which was pretty cool. Bradley, what about you?
Well, honestly, already watching Tanner make that putt, absolutely.
No, what's one that you did? What was one of your shots?
Man. I feel like I kind of was more important at Camp Kent on a couple shots where I was able to pin it. So that one little berg shot down the hill, getting under there twice.
Brad. Yeah.
I think for me personally, the final round on hole 3, I was able to hit like a 60-footer that really felt like it was a big momentum shift in our swing. And just from there on, I just really fueled the fire to get things going. I'm trying to think of a moment Ilkin's putt was huge. I think of Ilkin's putt during the final round. I think it was on about hole 12. He hit like a 45-footer. And it was just watching Ilkin just step up there and just absolutely drain a putt. It felt really good. And I was like, okay, we're good. We got this.
It felt good because I had missed every other putt the entire week. So
I think my biggest like high pressure moment or good moment was kind of just hole 15, the final round in general. All 3 guys, both UNC's 2 guys and Ilkin, were off the fairway. And that was kind of the final disaster hole that could really be a multiple stroke swing. And we were able to put it in the fairway, get up and down, and then I made a circle 2 putt for birdie on that hole. So
very nice. And it's nice to hear too that it's good when you're in such a team situation like that where everybody can kind of contribute and has their own angle and what they provide to the team. I'm curious for all of the rounds. I know you said sort of like round 1 was the one where you kind of got the farthest down. You got under 15, which is huge, especially considering if your final was 33. That's a pretty strong statement to start. But I guess going into the final round, what was sort of the mentality there, as opposed to once you sort of cracked that open in round 1? What was your like final round mentality to sort of cement the lead?
I think it was really just to play our game, stay true to who we were. Like Ilkin mentioned earlier, we think that we're the best team in the country. And if we go out and play our game, we're going to be just fine, and play the level that we know that we can get to. So it was really just sticking true to who we are and making sure we go out there and just execute our shots, put the nerves aside, and just step up and execute.
For sure. I'm curious too. So there's a lot of different strengths that I think that like each person has. I'm curious, kind of again around the horn. What would you guys say is like your individual strength for the team? Like, do you have just like some wicked like backhand like flex shot, or do you have some like a really good forehand? Like I've seen Ilkin's forehand, so I know it's insane. But like, I'm curious, like what is the individual thing that you guys think that you contribute the most to the team?
So team doubles in college is a pretty interesting format. So Tanner and I we're a doubles partner. and Ilkin and Lucas are a pair. So I think Tanner and we have a really good game that complements each other. I think I'm there mostly just to hit those forehand gaps. That's my main role. And then Tanner's backhands are great, and he makes all the putts. So I hate to take his turn there, but
Yeah. I'm kind of the putter and just throw the backhands when we need it. And Bradley pretty much comes up big on every forehand that we need.
Yeah, and so in this format too for doubles, are you guys actually are you like alternating, like forcefully alternating, or is it kind of like who's taking the shot for the next one?
Go ahead, Bradley.
So the way college doubles works is, so there's 4 of us on a team, and we're each partners. So Tanner and we could choose either to tee off on the odd or the even number holes.
Yep.
So we teed off on, say we tee off on the odd number holes. We'll start, we throw the tee shot, and then Ilkin and Lucas throw the next shot. So it's alternating shot doubles, but you alternate who tees off every hole.
Gotcha.
And you pick the better shot. So Tanner and Brad will throw, and we take the better shot and throw from there.
Okay. And that's just for the tee shots?
No, that's for all of them. So it's alternating best shot. All
okay.
throughout.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so that does provide like a really interesting sort of format too, because it kind of works like a scramble, but at the same time it does have some of its like standard format. So very interesting. For Ilkin and Lucas, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very clear here. I throw it short and hopefully in bounds, and then Lucas throws very, very far.
As you say, so Ilkin does a very good job. He's very consistent throwing the disc inbounds with the placement shots. And then I'm able to, kind of let it rip a little bit more, get that farther distance forehand and backhand. And putting wise, we're hit or miss. Some days we make putts, some days we don't. So.
Hey, that's how it goes, man. That goes for anybody at any level. Doesn't matter how experienced or inexperienced you are. Sometimes there's good days and sometimes there's bad ones. But you guys, of course, had a very good day to win that national championship. And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the 2 guys that were on that original team was Bradley and Tanner in 2023 that won the national championship. So you guys brought, of course, that experience there. And then, of course, the full team was there for last year's national championship final. So I'm curious as to where you guys go from here. So as far as like years left, what does the team structure look like? Where you guys at is sort of, it's funny because it's different from like, basketball or football where we're always like, what's your eligibility? But what is your eligibility? Like what's the team format going to look like after this year?
I'll go ahead and start. So I'm graduating in May.
Okay.
And then I will go to graduate school in the summer, but I won't be able to compete anymore because I won't be in school in the spring. So this is my last year, and I got to go out on a win.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, and this is my sophomore year, so the way college disc golf works is I think you have 6 years of eligibility for the college disc golf national championship, but obviously you have to be enrolled in the school. So I'm in engineering, so engineering is a 5-year major, so I got 3 years left.
There you go.
Yeah, I've got 1 more year left.
Okay.
And then I'm in my 3rd year. 1, likely 2 more years. Probably just going to stretch it out a little bit.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is we're returning at least 3 of these guys for next year to run it back.
Yes, sir.
And obviously, Lucas, that's fantastic for you to have that as your finish out. It's can't go out with a better bang. I mean, ending on a national championship, nobody could literally ask for anything better. And so I guess I'm curious. I don't know if you guys would have like a maybe collective answer, if there's different, what your guys' mindset is, how the team structure works going forward. But so if Lucas is out, how do you guys go about like finding that next person to sort of step into his spot? And then, are you looking at like a freshman, somebody who's maybe more experienced from like your B team or your C team that you can move up? How does that work?
Yeah.
Well,
you take it, Bradley. You got it.
One of our B team guys, Chris Fisher, he's been going crazy lately. So hopefully he'll be able to take that spot next year. But we also have a lot of talent coming into UC next year. I know Tanner's younger brother is coming here. He's pretty good. And we have a lot of other really good guys. So hopefully we can make a clean sweep, A, B, and C team.
There you go. That'd be very nice. I'm curious too. So, how do you go about getting guys in the door for, a club program? Because I know it is very different, obviously, whereas like if you have a full sponsored sport, you've got coaches and managers and people bringing stuff in. And I know like as a club team, you're running more independently than a lot of the other sports. So how do you go about like getting the right guys in the door? Sort of how you find the leaders there, how you develop sort of some talent that you can get guys up to the A team and get guys into national championship prowess and status as you all are.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly aren't offering up any NIL money,
Right.
but just with all the success we've had recently, that kind of speaks for itself and has allowed us to just kind of be a spotlight for other people coming in. Like, hey, this is as a program wide, we're competing at a really high level, and it's like, do you want to come play with us and let's go win some more nationals? Like, let's do it.
And it definitely doesn't hurt that Cincinnati is such a good place for disc golf in general. So
Mhm.
especially with some of the publicity we've gotten for this a recent year and also for 2023, I know that's one of the reasons I came to UC. I mean, it wasn't super high on the list, but because school is very important as well. But I was like, oh my gosh, I can compete with the disc golf team. This is so cool. So that was definitely on the list of priorities for me. And then I know there's other guys who have come to UC recently, or are thinking about coming to UC in the future, just because like we've proven that we can win national championships, and also the college disc golf scene is gaining some momentum and like more publicity, and more people are putting some eyes on it, and it's turned into a whole thing, and that's very cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think the interesting thing too is, when you look at how disc golf is kind of set up, it is in a way similar to golf, where there's a lot of like individuality. Of course, you do have the team set up for college disc golf, and you don't really see a lot of that in the pro level, where it's mostly singles. Um, but I'm curious too. Have you seen guys that are being drawn here? I know you kind of mentioned it already that some players are looking at it, but do you see guys even from like out of state who have maybe reached out, said like, hey, I'm interested in joining the team, how do I do that? Or people that are maybe specifically picking UC so that they could play on this team or a team of this caliber?
Yeah, I mean, our social media manager just reached out to me the other day because there was a couple of kids that are seniors in high school right now that from out of state, but they're interested in our program and they're wanting to come down and get a round in with us and just kind of see what Cincinnati's all about. And so that's been really cool to see. And we'll see where it takes us from here.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really cool thing, and that's how you know too that it's like spreading, because when you get some more publicity like that and you get some more recognition, I think it sets a really interesting premise going forward for how you can build the team and how specifically you can continue to maintain this level of competition. I guess one thing I'd like to ask too is, what are the things that you guys think that you need to do? What are maybe some courses or certain elements to your game that you'd say like you worked on over the off season that really put you guys in this position? And the core foundational things about your team, like what puts you in this position to be national champions and be so high above so many other teams?
To be honest, in my opinion, I think we just get along with each other really well. And I think that's underrated. I think the vibes on our card are always very high. When one of us gets really sad, which is usually me, everybody else on the team like picks each other up. We're laughing most of the time that we're playing, while also being incredibly locked in, and we help each other be locked in. Um, yeah, to be honest, I think the reason we are so good is obviously all of us are very talented disc golfers and have been playing the sport for a while now. Um, but a lot of times that doesn't translate to the college format because the doubles is so different than normal disc golf. But I think just generally we get along well and we have good vibes on the team, and and I also think we understand the format um, to a very high extent and are able to play in our favor in most situations, in my opinion at least.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else?
I think we just have a good team of solid disc golfers. Even before we came here, Cincinnati's a very good disc golf area, as it's already been said, and I think we just have a lot of talent on this team.
Yeah, yeah. I guess okay. So we've got 2 final questions for you. This is another around the horn. Favorite disc in the bag. Everybody needs to know, like, what's the thing that, like, everybody's got something that you're just trying to tell somebody about. You're just trying to sell them on. What's the one disc in your bag that if you're stuck with it, that's what you're riding with, ride or die? Let's start with Lucas and go around.
So my favorite disc in the bag, granted, it's a little bit of, if I was stuck with a disc, I'd probably have to go with the mid-range, but it's not my favorite disc. So I'm going to go with my favorite disc, which has got to be old Swirly Star Destroyers. A bit expensive, not in production anymore, but I love them. I've always got a few in the bag. Yeah, they're just my go-to distance drivers. Pop them up, get a nice turn, and throw them about 500 something feet. So
I wish I could do anywhere close to that. For those of you who don't know, too, for people who aren't familiar with disc golf, like, everything is measured in feet, not necessarily in yards. So, a lot of people will hear that and like, oh, how hard could it be to, like, throw 300 feet or 500 feet? Guys, it's freaking difficult. So, like, when you see somebody throwing like 500 feet, it is an absolute beast of an arm. So know that when you hear that is it is a very difficult thing to do, and that is a pro level type of distance. So keep that in mind. Continue.
Yeah, for sure. Lucas has very much pro level distance to pro plus level distance.
Yeah.
Everybody knows and loves to laugh at me for the fact that I throw about 4 discs. Honestly, like, I have the bag full of discs, but my game is very simple. I throw about 4 consistently. But my favorite of those is my greenie. It's also a destroyer. It's a champion destroyer. It's really flippy now, but I love him so much.
There you go.
I'd say my favorite disc as of lately, I put it in the bag, and now every time I throw it, I have to talk about it, is my Berg. I know it's a pretty controversial disc, but
yeah. And then for me, it would be my greenie, which is not a destroyer. It's a zone. Pretty much any shot 320 feet and in. It's been in the bag for a while, so it's really nice and seasoned, just perfectly straight. And I don't know what I'd do if I ever lose it one of these days.
Yeah, and actually, I'm curious. Have any of you, like, lost a disc during competition that you're just like, oh no, like, I can't, like, couldn't get that back? I'm sure, even if it's not necessarily in, like, championship level competition, have you lost something like that and you're kind of screwed for that round?
Pretty much both last year and this year, Luke, I have not had a disc that's overstable enough for the wins that we've had at Winthrop, usually at the really open course. So Lucas has lent me really stable destroyers both years, and both years I've thrown them into the water. And then I would have to play the rest of the round with a much less overstable destroyer. So definitely that has happened, and it's usually not good.
Yeah. Okay. That's always tough, and it's very easy to lose discs. For those of you who don't play often, just go out and throw over water once, and you'll see how hard it is. So I'll leave this with our final question. Everybody's got a favorite course. I know I asked this last year, so I'm curious for this year if anything has changed, if there's like one course that might be your go-to, or if it's one course that's just your absolute favorite, the best you've ever played on. What you got?
I think my favorite that I've ever played has got to be Northwood Black. We ended up shooting a 14 under team round there, which is crazy good, especially because it's one of the hardest courses the Pro Tour plays.
Yeah.
That's going to be my favorite.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I don't remember what I said last year, but if it's like my favorite course, just flat line, that's the question. I have to say Toboggan up in Michigan, just because that's where I won the U.S. Amateurs. But if I were to say the best course I've ever played, it's very close because I've gotten to play a lot of the very best courses in the world. But Thaler Lake in Pennsylvania was probably the most beautiful course and probably the most fun course I've ever gotten to play because you get to throw off a freaking mountain and just watch the disc fly for years, it seems, which is so cool.
Yeah, Ilkin took my answer there. Fair Lake was definitely
Sorry.
the most beautiful course I played. Like in the fall, like all the trees, driving through the mountains was pretty great, and it's just a really good course. But I mean, if I have to choose another one, my go-to favorite really good course is Idlewild, which is in Kentucky, pretty close. It's a Pro Tour level course, and it's pretty close to Cincinnati. So
should be coming up soon, isn't it?
I think is it in August?
I was going to say, it's usually first or second weekend of August.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah. And then for me, I'm going to agree with Lucas here. Northwood Black is my favorite. But then I'd also add Maple Hill, which is up in Massachusetts.
There you go.
And just similar like Fair Lake, just the most beautiful property you feel like you could ever step foot on. So definitely those two for me.
Very nice. Well, cool. We got a lot of great information out of all these guys. Again, super happy to have all of you on. It's been it's been fun just seeing everything from last year to this year, coming back in with a new mindset. A lot of the same mindset, but new mindset in winning national championship. Of course, again, a lot of this team is going to return for next year. So don't count them out because they're probably going to go right back to the same spot. It's a level of expectation that they have, and hopefully they can continue to build on that. So Lucas, Ilkin, Bradley, or is it Brad? Is it Brad? It's Brad, not Bradley.
Everyone on the team calls me Brad. So
Brad. We'll call you Brad. And Tanner, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of Evil Cats. Really appreciative to have you on. Great to see you win a national championship. Great for the club teams. Great for the city of Cincinnati and for the UC disc golf scene as well. Just do it again next year, please. Like just keep doing it. I would love to keep having you guys on and keep having the same conversation because it is nice. And we'll see what ends up happening with Lucas's spot as they find their extra man for next year's team. So again, congratulations. Very impressive job this season, and we look forward to seeing what you guys got next year. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
sir.
having us on.
Of course.
Well, hello there.
Hey, buddy. So that was UC Disc Cats, Disc Golf. Always glad to have these guys on. They bring a really, really good level of competition that I think is nice for city of Cincinnati and for our teams for UC because, not all the teams have been winning lately, but this team consistently stays at the top level.
Any team that's winning titles is my favorite team. So, congrats to them. They are now my favorite team. So they've done it 2 out of the last 3 years. Dodgeball boys had their chance, but they could not get it done like the disc golf boys could. So shout out to them. Congratulations on another national championship. And, I'm interested in the roster next year, Justin. I was listening along there as I was waiting along in the waiting room. Thank you for taking that on, by the way. For the listening audience, Justin has played like 1,000 times more disc golf than I have ever played, and I would just sound like an amateur. So, not even got a handicap or anything. So Justin's our man there, and I'm glad you were there. And I didn't sully our good reputation of this podcast by attempting. So
Steve could never.
I would like to, honestly. It kind of sounds like fun. So, good way to get out. I don't really think we have much in Arizona, to be honest.
Steve, you're in Scottsdale. You were in the home of Arizona disc golf.
Okay, I am.
There's actually a pretty big scene out there. It's where a lot of the pros live.
Interesting. Okay. So much like many other sports, this is where a lot of pros live. So
yes,
good to know. Okay.
Fair. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, that's the thing. In Arizona, it's always in season. That's why. It's
depending on what time of year, if you get into summer and it's 120 degrees, it might not be the best disc golf weather, but we'll see what we can do. Sorry, I'm trying to say
this much. For my one round that I got to play while visiting Steve out in Phoenix, when you sweat, you don't even notice it. You're literally in an oven, and so you don't like you will be wet, but you won't feel wet. You won't feel sweat. It just evaporates straight off of you the second that it comes off your body. It's insane. I've never experienced anything like it. I
The
just
heat
haven't
is
spent enough
moisture
time in the
wicking
desert.
itself. You don't need any of that, any of that like new age technology or anything. You're all good.
Yeah, it's a very interesting climate out there for those of you who have not experienced it. So yes, of course, that was the 2025 National Championship UC Disc Golf team. Again, thank you to all of those guys for coming on for the A team, representing that group very well. We look forward to seeing what they can do next season. Steve, we have about 25 minutes or so to run down everything that's happened in the transfer portal over the past few weeks, basically since it opened. Last time we talked, a few guys had left. We had seen pretty much everything up until additions. Like there was like no additions. It was just mass exodus when we last talked. So we're in a little bit of a different situation this time. We have, of course, added. I believe we talked about Kerr last time and Sincere, but in the meantime, we have added some very important pieces.
Yeah, and I don't think we had actually had a knowledge as to who was leaving too, by the way.
Yeah.
Like we had pretty much most of a knowledge. But man, these pieces, they've got people, beat reporters, they've got people very upset about what's going on. So let's just talk about the big one up front. Mustafa Thiam, a Cincinnati Bearcat. I know we gave the Xavier boys crap for that all in hashtag, but Wes Miller knows he needs something this year, and he decided to go all in this year and get Mustafa Thiam, named ranked number 27 per Evan Miyakawa's transfer portal rankings. Actually, Evan tweeted out something yesterday. Top defensive players in the transfer portal based on predicted defensive impact for next season. Number 5 on that list, Mustafa Thiam, and that includes Jaden Quaintance, Morris Johnson, Zvonimir Visic, and Muhammad Diabate. That's a pretty good list to be on. And 2 of those guys ended up at Kentucky. One of those ended up in Michigan. One of those ended up at Illinois. And number 5 is at Cincinnati. And
yes, sir.
Just this guy, man, Justin, the sky is the limit. I did mention that he's got beat writers angry. I do want to read the tweet later. I've got it pulled up, but what an impact this can bring for us. And I feel like this guy does it all. He can shoot threes. He can play a solid defense. And, you're not going to ask Jalen Haynes or Halveen or any of your other big guys. Obviously you're not going to ask Tyler McKinley to really do some of the stuff because they're young. But Mustafa's played a lot this past year, 7-2, but he moves pretty well. I'm very excited about this move. And again, shows that Wes Miller is all in this year. He knows like this has got to be the year for him to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I want to start my piece off on this by saying, eat shit, UCF fans. You dealt it out last year. You got it back this year. As Steve said, some beat writers and some.
Should we just read it?
Very upset. Yes, just read it.
Okay, I'll go quickly because it's long and we've got and we're on a timer. So Brandon Helwig, who runs the Rivals UCF site, said today, UCF assistant coach Mamadou Ndiaye shopped himself and star center Mustafa Thiam to schools during the season, all the while still employed by UCF, sources say. My comment, this happens all the time. Get over yourself. Back to the tweet. Ndiaye assisted the duo were a package deal as Ndiaye's family runs the Flying Star Academy in Senegal, which helped facilitate Thiam's development and brought him to the U.S. Ndiaye demanded an above-market coaching salary guaranteed for 2 years, which most schools passed on. Cincinnati agreed to pay Ndiaye's $1.6 million demand in addition to the $2 million NIL for Mustafa. My contribution here, we got that cash, baby. We're trying to spend it this year, boy.
Bankroll, mother.
Okay, he tries to dunk on us here, but Cincinnati, a proud basketball program, has not made the NCAA tournament since 2019. Sir, I ask you, wasn't that the same time that UCF made their last NCAA basketball tournament? Back to the tweet. The seat is warming for UC head coach Wes Miller, who got a huge influx of NIL money this year in a last-ditch effort to turn things around. DM is considered a big piece to help doing so. And hiring NDIA is the cost of doing business. Again, we got money, baby. One more thing on the tweet. Cincinnati chose to delay the announcement of MDIA's hire for a week because of quotation marks optics. And now you know the rest of the story. And for context on this man, this is the guy that was calling out Wes Miller for wearing Ferragamo shoes on the sidelines while Cincinnati still had the Under Armour deal that is very publicly trying to get out of, and that Under Armour did not care about anymore. So this guy's always had a stick up his ass for UC stuff, but this just took the cake, man. Like, I read that whole thing and it was like eating the tears. Like, I was just like, literally feed it to me. And I quote tweeted it. People were responding like, I feel like you would feel the same way. I'd be like, no, this is just how it works, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, it's good as a college sports fan right now, Justin. This is a 1-year thing. I think we should all just realize it, by the way. This is a 1-year deal for all of this stuff. Just enjoy your 1 year. Whatever happens after that happens after that. I'm on a 1-year contract with all of these guys, and some of them might even just enter the portal like randomly just in the middle of the season. It's a 1-year thing with all of these guys.
Let's just say this much. I think there's two important things to mention here. The whole like shopping himself with said player. How did this guy end up on UCF staff? Because sure, maybe it's a little bit of a different situation, but if you think about it, what is different here than a head coach leaving a program and then taking their best players with them? It happens every damn season with every damn team. When a head coach leaves, they take their best players that they want with them. It is no different for an assistant coach to do the same thing. If it happened during the season or at the end of the season, I don't care. We all know Luke Fickell was probably shopping around at the end of his season in 2020.
There's no probably about it. He was.
Yeah, he was.
We know.
And so, yeah, it sucks, but it happened. We moved on. We're over it. It's fine. Like, this happens with head coaches all the time. If it's an assistant coach, what's the big deal? Sorry your team got gutted. Sorry the team did not get the benefit of the transfer portal, as so many other teams have. I don't know. Maybe put more funding into your program, and maybe
sorry you all are poor, by the way, too.
Yeah, sorry you're poor. We have money. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just, that sucks for UCF. It's great for UC. It's nice to see that we're actually using the money that we have available. And it's nice to see, like, this is a statement for West, too. It's like, okay, you know what? If we have to, if it's true or if it's not, if we have to get this guy to get him, great. And also, if you add a guy with connections like this with Senegal, I mean, they're putting out guys like this all the time. I mean, even look at Aziz. Like, you have guys with this build and format that is really ready for the pro level. And so for somebody like Mustafa, who quite honestly could be in the at least first, maybe second round, I don't know what his timeline would look like, but this guy looks like he is fit for the NBA mold. And so if you're asking a player like that to say, let me stay with a gutted UCF team that's going to suck, or maybe I could shop my options elsewhere and get more money and get into a team that might put me on a better track to go to the NBA, take it. Like, I mean, who else is going to do anything different here? And there was talk too about, not necessarily blocking, but like trying to like pivot around Mustafa's desire to, I guess, leave the team. And then this deal worked out. I don't know. There's a lot of like hearsay about this whole situation. But at the end of the day, he's now a Bearcat. He's no longer a Knight. You guys got 3 of our players last year. We get 1 of yours. And guess what? This one's the one that's actually going to hurt. Because the other ones last year, we were like, fine, you know what? It's not working for the locker room. They're all angry. Cool. Glad you're Bearcats. We'll miss you. Maybe not. Have fun. Hindsight's 2020, buddy.
And guess who won that
what goes
game
around comes around.
last year anyway? Like, you took our players and you still lost. So, I mean, and you beat us in the crown, which we didn't really care about anyway, So we beat you in everything else last year.
Exactly. There. You get the crown. We get your king.
Yeah.
That's
right. That's right.
We took your favorite player. Screw you. A lot of eligibility left.
So and then the possibilities just get endless just with the at the 5. I'm gonna go back to Bearcat Bunches. But by the way, great follow. If you're not a Bearcat, if you're a Bearcat fan, you're not following them, you're doing yourself a disservice. Let's just look at this quick mock depth lineup real quick. At the 1, you got Jizzle, 2 Day, 3 Sean, 4 Jalen Haynes, 5 Mustafa Thiam. And if all those guys are at their top potential, man, that is an exciting basketball team. And we're not even talking about, really quick, Justin, Jalen Haynes, who have not mentioned since he became a Bearcat.
Yes.
I love that addition. So
Dude,
huge addition. Like his like highlight reel kind of looked like, I've long said on this podcast that this basketball program prides itself on big men, and he looked like one of those big men that we love. Like I'm not going to say the same as Gary Clark or the same as Danny Fortson, but in that mold for sure.
Yeah.
A bruiser down low who's going to get you a bucket, get a board, put it back up with authority, play some strong defense. I love everything about that signing. And then Jalen Celestine as well. It seemed like a 1-for-1 trade with Baylor. They get Dan Skillings. Good luck to you. And we get Jalen Celestine. I don't really know much about Celestine, if I'm being honest. He was rated by Evan Miyakawa as the 267th best transfer portal player, below Kerr Kriisa. But Justin, I'm curious how you feel about Celestine.
Celestine's a good addition. He came, I think he had 2 or 3 years at Cal before he ended up going to Baylor, and now he's with us. I think with him, you just kind of get you get the accurate 3-point shooting that you're looking for, in somebody who also has already competed at the Big 12 level. And I think that kind of addition is really nice. I don't think he's going to be an impact player, but I don't necessarily think he's going to be like a starting rotation player. With that said, I do think he brings at least the experience and the veteran leadership that you need in this team, which, again, we were sorely lacking last year. I think it's important, again, to mention that he's in every stage of college ball that he's been at. He's played at the Power 5 level, or Power 6, however we're formatting this for basketball. He's played at that highest level consistently throughout his career, and you're not really having any question marks as what a lot of the guys that we've brought in over the past few years, might have played at a lower level and they're bringing up, and now we just have to say, I hope it sticks. This is a nice thing where you can basically plug and play and know exactly what you're getting, which is just a breath of fresh air, as compared to some of the other guys that we've brought in previous seasons. And of course, for Jalen Haynes, dude, I said this when it was in the rumor mill before it was official about him. Just give me DJ Burns. That's all I want. This guy literally looks like a carbon copy of DJ Burns. Like, he's got the same game. He's got some nasty post work, has just a very able body, physical presence in the paint. That's something, again, that we have been sorely lacking, as you've said, that we've desperately needed for seasons. Like, we just haven't had that type of player. We've had guys who can rebound, who are tall, who are lanky, who, might have certain elements of the game, but they all lack that just bruiser guy who's going to bully ball. And so having that on the team now, I think, is going to be a really nice breath of fresh air. Of course, again, it is a little bit of a question mark. You're having a guy who came from the A10, of course, a first team all A10 caliber, but you're having a guy who's coming up from a league that is a little bit different, although they've got some good teams in there. Of course, they play Dayton too, so I feel more confident about him. And I think some of those physicality traits translate better than some of the shooting traits and some of the other traits that you don't necessarily, that a much more difficult Big 12 defense are going to affect for offensive players. That sort of physicality, I think you just don't lose. It no matter what level you play at, it's a physical trait. So that I'm really excited for too.
Yeah, and then the other thing too, Justin, is that we're not really done in the transfer portal either. There's still 4 spots left. Now, I don't know how many impact guys you're going to get with those 4 spots, and considering it's been pretty, at least speculated, that we've used most of our NIL budget for the upcoming season. So, we'll I don't think you're going to be adding another huge addition in your portal entries. But I've noticed the two guys that put their name in the portal and that have did not say that that said that they were open to coming back have not committed anywhere. Rayvon Griffith and Tyler Betsy. I mean, if you enter the portal,
Rayvon's at Kent State. Rayvon's at Kent State.
Okay, sorry, I don't.
Betsy,
247. Sorry, 247. Well, actually, my personal sources. He walked right past me at the airport a couple weeks ago as I was flying into Cincinnati for Easter weekend. So maybe he was coming back from a portal visit. I don't really think he would come back, and I know some fans were kind of indifferent on him, but I would not mind having him back. I know he probably just wants to have more playing time, and I don't know if he would be getting it with Sean on the team, but if he would.
Oh, I think we lost Steve.
Those spots, but I'm intrigued. We'll see what happens, but man, Justin, the sky's the limit right now for this team. Like I do feel having Jizzle and Day back, we thought one of them was going to go, but I don't mind the continuity, and you've got Kerr Kriisa to be able to work with Jizzle. Like Kerr Kriisa, just an experienced ball handler guard, able to dish it out. I like that addition more and more as it goes along. And man, the addition of Sincere Harris is just another defensive wing guy who is going to be able to hopefully shoot the ball better. But I kind of see him. I don't really have a good Cincinnati comp for him, but he's just going to be one of those gritty, aggressive defensive players that we love, like that gets in passing lanes and gets deflections, and just really tries to make himself known on the defensive end. And I feel like, as much as Cincinnati fans, we like to say that we like offense and we like seeing the ball go through the hoop, we are a defensive program. And I think if you asked Cincinnati fans, would you rather win 88-84 or 68-62? I feel like you would rather see them give up 62. Now, obviously, you'd probably just want them to win 88-62 so that they're scoring more and holding teams down. But I do feel like we pride ourselves on defense in this program. So I really like what Sincere is going to bring on the defensive end.
Yeah, no, and I think an important thing to note, like we talked about it when we added Kerr and Sincere. Now look at Haynes, look at Mustafa, and you're also looking at Celestine. Like, if you go down the list, real quick, just for audio purposes, list off that starting five again.
Yeah, so potential starting five of Jizzle, Dede, Sean, Jalen, and Mustafa. That's a pretty solid five, dude.
So at the 1, you have a dog. At the 2, you have a dog. At the 3, you have a dog. At the 4, you have a dog. And at the 5, you have a dog. You have guys who want to go out and get it and are competitors. And like, there's no question about the level of commitment that they have to the game. And that's the kind of thing that I think coming out of last year and into this year, you needed in the portal. And I think I really would be curious to know how much of it is a player wanting to leave versus conversations of, hey, this is what we see for you. If this doesn't fit, best of luck. I am curious how much of that happened with the coaching staff and players this offseason. But, as you said, returning Jizzle and Dede, two guys that out of the core were always hustling, always even if it wasn't their night, they're always putting in the effort and they're always looking how they can impact on the floor. And they were never the guys on the floor that you were like, I don't know, is this actually working out, or are they focused on the game? What's going on? And so with all of those other additions, I feel really confident that those things can work. And I think it's nice too, because it's so easy to talk about all this stuff with the transfer portal and really not even mention Tillery and Sean. Like those are two guys that you're bringing in that are going to be super, super key players for this team going forward. Of course, Sean, if everything goes to plan, he's going to be an NBA, one and done college player into the NBA. But would love to have another NBA draft pick for the Bearcats. Maybe you get 2 if you got, Mustafa goes on some kind of crazy run this year. But I think for these two guys, their game translates. But, really for Sean, being in a position where you look at the roster. Jalen's got the experience. Sean, you're not bringing him here if you're not starting him. Like, it's not. He's going to start. He's going to get his 28 to 30 minutes a game. That's what you're going to get out of him. So to put these guys in these positions and to have a guy like Sean as a freshman who can go out there and be a very vocal player, but is surrounded by, some veteran talent with Haynes and with Day and with Jizzle. And then, of course, in your, second rotations, I think it's going to be a really nice continuity for the team. The biggest question that we didn't ask last year that now we kind of have to ask this year. Last year, you returned so much of your core. You're like, great. I mean, the best thing possible is returning all these guys because they know how to play together. This year, yeah, you're going to have to see if the chemistry is there. You're going to have to see if they really can gel well. But I'd be curious to see how that all pans out, because again, last year we returned so many guys and it was just like, well, this isn't working.
Yeah, I do think too that there will be a different mentality about this team, and it just from the standpoint of they didn't have enough last year of whatever you want to call it, the it factor, the drive, the hustle, like there just was not enough of it, and I would be shocked if they went into the portal and did not immediately look to address that as well. So I think there's probably going to be a little bit of a growing period and growing pains, and there's going to be some summer and early like non scrimmages that we're going to be curious about. But I'm really interested to see if Jizzle and Day can really hold this thing together and really bring these guys along, because it's kind of dependent on them, right, Justin? It's really dependent on your guard play, and obviously, you've got 5 solid guys coming in that you think can be good additions, and you went and got them because of those different reasons, and they're all in the top 300 of Evan Miyakawa's transfer portal player rankings. And so the talent, again, it's the talent thing, Justin. The talent's going to be there. You got Sean as well, Keyshawn Tillery. There's talent on this roster. It's just going to be if the players buy in and Wes can pull it together. And I mean, for our sake, I'm hoping that in a year on this show, we're going to be talking about, the great run that UC had through the tournament. But the possibility is still there that we're talking about, just a brand new coach and all of the new players we have on the team. I'm more willing to say that just because of the experience we have and the talent we have on the roster, I'm more willing to be optimistic and hope for that. And I feel like the tournament run is more possible. Like I would lean 60%, 65% tournament run and 35 to 40%, new coach. But I think I really like everything that we've done, but it's still a question and we haven't seen it yet. So I get people if they want to be a little bit hesitant before they go like fully into like all in love with this team.
Yeah. And I mean, that's very fair too. I think again, there's going to be a lot of question marks, even again, as we said before, even more question marks this year than last year, just because of the amount of change. Like you don't know how all this is going to go together. It does look like a talent upgrade, but again, lots of question marks that you just don't have answers till you get to November, really. So until November, it's gonna be interesting. But as you said, there's still some spots to fill in. 4 more scholarship spots left. We'll see what they do with those, if they do fill all of them, or if they decide to maybe save some and just kind of fill in the roster with some lower rotation players. I don't think they're going to make a big splash. I don't really see anything happening there. And again, because most of your guys that we're going to transfer and are sort of your high tier level players, your S tier level players, have already been in the transfer portal and have already committed. Those guys, a lot of those guys were not really getting in by the deadline, and because if the deadline is passed, whoever's in there is in there. They can always return to their team if they have that option, as we did say with Betsy. So interested to see all that works out. We are at the end of our show. Steve, are there any closing remarks?
No, man. Unfortunately, our Diamond Cats have kind of fallen off the wayside. So all I will say is I am really looking forward to football coming up. And I just looked at it, Justin. My Google tells me first Monday of November is 188 days, 187 days from the day that you are listening to this show. So if you're not on the football train, got to wait 187 days to watch the Bearcats play basketball again and hopefully reach the NCAA tournament. But otherwise, my man, it's been wonderful. Another good season. This is kind of like the bookmark of the end of our season of pods, and I really feel like you and I, really stepped up our game this year. I feel like we would have made the NCAA tournament of college podcasts if there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's nothing that we did wrong. It's the team. It wasn't us, But I really enjoy doing this with you, my man. And thank you for all the listeners. Thank you for people who are interacting with the pod on socials, on Twitter. And man, I mean, we're not going away for the full summer. We'll get you a couple things. Maybe some stuff will pop up, but I don't know, man. It's been fun, and I hopefully get to do this ride again soon.
Steve, I couldn't have said it better myself. So thank you all for listening. Be sure to check out the 1012 Network, and as well, shout out to our sponsors, Charlie Hustle, for always bringing some great quality vintage merch. Of course, if you head over to www.charliehustle.com, may have added an extra W in there, charliehustle.com, use the promo code 1012 Network. That is 1012 Network to get 15% off all non-sale items. There's plenty of great options for the Bearcats there, always adding new additions when they can, and as well, plenty of other options for many other Big 12 teams. And of course, you're going to go through the summer. Maybe you got some birthdays, maybe you got some like bachelor parties or some other events going on, and you need to get an extra shirt or something for somebody, an extra gift. Charlie Hustle is a great option for that. So again, use that promo code 1012 Network. Use 15% off there for some nice bad boys for your closet or for those for your friends or family. Thank you for listening this week. We will probably be back sometime next month. We'll just say up in the air. We don't know. When we get to the off season, we kind of go into a dormancy. We got to conserve the energy so that we can be ready back for the fall. But until then, have a great one, folks. Stay safe. Go Bearcats. Viva
La Cats. I'm going to play some disc golf. How about that?
Yeah, go sling some discs, brother.
Sling that